Welcome to the Mentally Whole podcast. I am your host, Lauren Green. This podcast is a safe place for us to have weekly discussions about mental health, Christ, personal development, and the tools to live our best lives. Please stay tuned for a new episode. Hey y'all, welcome to the Mentally Whole podcast. This is your host, Lauren Green, and welcome to a new episode. So y'all, I just want to apologize for not putting out a new episode last week. Last week was a little hectic for me, and I apologize, but we are back with new content. So if you don't know, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. Isn't that exciting? But before we get into the topic for today, don't forget to subscribe, share, and like the podcast. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the mailing list to stay up to date for all podcast things. Because I want to start giving out freebies and stuff like that to my mailing list. So back to what I was saying earlier, May is Mental Health Awareness Month, right? And I think that is so amazing because May is also my birthday month. My birthday is May 31st, so that is super exciting. So I just wanted to share some background on Mental Health Awareness Month. So May has been Mental Health Awareness Month in the United States since 1949. So y'all, that is a long time that May has been observed as Mental Health Awareness Month. You would think that mental health conversations would be more prevalent because of that, but it is not. Also, Mental Health Awareness Month, every year the goal for Mental Health Awareness Month is to fight the stigma, provide support, educate the public and advocate for policies that support people with mental illness and their families. It also aims to draw attention to suicide, which can be precipitated by some mental illnesses. Right? So I think it's pretty dope that mental health has its own month. I am here for it. Okay? And mental health, every year millions and millions of people face, the reality of living with a mental illness. So I think it's amazing that there is a month solely dedicated to mental health. So today's topic is mental health check-in. So checking in mentally every day is a part of self-care because you are taking the time out to daily take care of yourself, right? I think self-care is something that should be done every day, and it's not in the, I think truly self-care is found in the things that you do every single day, whether it be taking a shower, brushing your teeth, listening to an album that you love. Self-care is in those small moments, right? So checking in every day is important, and I found this article that I love, and we're going to go through it. And checking in mentally is a necessity, right? It is necessary for you to thrive and flourish, right? So the first question that you should ask yourself every day is, how am I feeling today mentally and physically, right? So a lot of our mental illnesses affect us mentally as well as physically. So for example, if you're depressed, your sleep patterns, if you have depression or anxiety, your sleep patterns might be affected. Your eating habits might be affected. Trauma, you might have flashbacks of your trauma, and you need to take an assessment of how you feel every day, right? And sometimes we might be stressed, or we might have different emotions, and we might not necessarily know it, right? You're not going to know it until you check in with yourself, right? The next question that you should ask yourself is, what's taking up most of my headspace? Is it work? Is it friendships? Is it family? Is it church? Is it a relationship? What is taking up most of your headspace? Because what I know is that your thought life can affect every other area in your life. Your thought life can affect you physically. It can affect you emotionally. It can affect you relationally. I was doing this training this week it was called the Green Print, and it was for people who want to become traders in the foreign exchange market. And the theme throughout all of the speakers was the importance of a mindset, right? The importance of, having a positive mindset, of changing your thoughts, changing how you see things, how you perceive things. I thought that was so important, because you can't move, you can't make changes in your life with an old mindset. You can't make new decisions or take risk with an old mindset or old habits, right? So it is important to check in with yourself. What is taking up most of your headspace? The next two questions go kind of hand in hand. So the next question is, when did I last eat a whole meal? And the next one is, am I tired? Right? Nutrition is very important when it comes to mental health, because sometimes if you have a low appetite, it can mean you have signs of depression or other mental health concerns. Right? Right. Nutrition is very, very important. And sleep is also important, because being sleep deprived does not do you any good, right? Your mind depends on it. When you sleep, that's where your mind and body replenish itself, or it what's the word I'm trying to figure out? It fixes itself. It heals itself when you rest and sleep. And I remember I listened to a podcast episode where it said you should not make decisions when you're hungry or sleepy, right? Because biologically you need sleep and you need food, and it's not good when you make decisions when you're sleepy or tired, right? So, and the last question is, what will I engage in today that will bring me joy, right? I think that's very important, because sometimes we get so busy with doing things for everybody else that we forget ourselves, and oftentimes when we don't check in with ourselves, that can make our depression and anxiety worse, right? In this article, it says the person that wrote the question said the person was not afraid to remove herself from a situation that does her mental health a disservice. That's an important thing to note, because a lot of times we will stay in things that are not a service to us, right? We stay in things that do not positively affect us or impact us, right? I think it's important that we ask ourselves this question, because sometimes bringing us joy, doing something that brings us joy, could be simple as setting boundaries, right? Or painting our toenails, or doing our skincare routine, or moisturizing our hair. Like, what are you going to do today that brings you joy, right? That's important. So y'all, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you will incorporate these daily questions in your life. And this has been an episode of the Mentally Whole Podcast.